guys, in today's review is on a pre-grouping rolling stock from a manufacturer I don't really look at too often. And this is the Kernow model shop. This is their model, so exclusively done by them. And this is the London Brighton South Coast Railway, Open A, diagram 1369, and it's a 5-plank wagon. It does look unusual to other 5-plank wagons. The product code for this is SB009A. It's a 5-plank London Brighton South Coast Railway Grey. It was announced on May the 16th, 2024, and it arrived December 2024, which is pretty good going. It is Era 2, and like I said, this is a pre-grouping rolling stock. It's a bit unusual to the other 5 planks. I do like my pre-grouping stuff. So let's get into the review and see if they are any good, shall we? This model does come with some detail to add, and that is chain links for the front and back of the plank wagon. Now we move on to the front or the back of this 5-plank wagon. This 5-plank wagon does have metal sprung buffers, which is amazing for a plank wagon. Mostly they're not sprung at all, but this does have sprung metal buffers. We have a NEM pocket coupler at the bottom, which is fitted to both sides. As we move on up, the buffer beam itself is in battleship grey. The buffer shanks are round instead of square like they are on some wagons, with a few rivets. We do have some more rivets around the hook, which I think is metal for your detail parts, which is the 3 chain links that you can add yourselves. As we move on up, this is where I get a bit confused. So it is a 5-plank wagon, it is in grey. We have metalwork down the outside and 2 in the centre with rivets. We also have some sort of step-applied half-moon handle with another thinner handle on top that goes up and over. And there's a few more planking above that. These are separately applied, so please be careful, they're very delicate. Again, it's all in battleship grey and it looks fantastic. As we now move on to the side of the wagon, both sides of the wagon to me are exactly the same. I'm no expert. Like I said at the start, at the top we do have this fine handrail going over the top, which I think was for a cover. I'm guessing like clay covers is my theory. Like I said, I'm no expert, but that is super delicate. The whole 5-plank wagon is in grey, battleship grey I want to call it, and we don't have any extra planking like we do around the other the front. We have the number of the wagon, which is 4342. We also have some other numbers below it, which I'm not quite sure what they are. We have the pre-grouping company of this wagon, which is Lbsc, London Brighton South Coast Railway. We have moulded on chains. We also have some more metalwork in the centre between the B and the S. Not sure how these doors open. I'm guessing downwards would be my guess. We have some sideways action. Again, like most wagons, it's the riveting. That's going from corner to corner from the L and the C, meeting at the B and the S, if that makes sense to you. And then down below on the sole bar, we do have, I think, a builder's plate. Again, this builder's plate is legible, and it does say the London Brighton South Coast Railway, again, with the number of the wagon. Again, this is all legible. We have a few rivets around that. We also have some supports as well, some door bangers to stop the door, I think, banging on itself, basically. We have a separate applied brake handle, which has a white tip. We have axles and springs, which are moulded in black. We have brake shoes, which line up with the wheels, and then we have metal wheels as well. And they are spoked, and the inserts are black. As we do an aerial view now on top of the wagon, from this angle you can see that handrail going over the top, or support going over the top, is separately fitted. Very delicate, it is made out of plastic I believe, and it does move, so just be very careful with it. Mine's a little bit stiff, I'm not sure if they're meant to move. And underneath that, you can see several planks in grey with a little bit of a wood effect going on. And then you can see the inside of the plank again is grey instead of brown. It's really nicely done, and you can see the moulding for the doors or the bangers. And finally, we come on to the underneath look at the wagon. Like any plank wagon tooled in the 2020s, it's highly detailed. So like I said, we do have metal pinpoint wheels, and they spin quite easily. We also have the NEM pockets at either end. You can see some separately applied supports in there, or moulding on supports in there. You can see the brake rigging, and like I said before, the brake shoes do line up. There is no Kernow mark as far as I can see, and then behind the NEM pockets themselves there is some springs which line up with the buffers, and if you press the buffers do move like I said before, but sadly the springs don't. And you can also see the 2 separately applied brakes with the curved in handle like a sword. So yeah guys, that's it on the tracks. Next up will be the usual coupling test I do with my rolling stock, and it will be coupling to a Kernow LSWR brake van in a Southern livery, and it will also be coupling to a Hornby 5 plank. Both in them pockets, so let's see if it can do it, shall we? Yep, no issues. Little jerky there. Enjoy the running session. Sorry about the jerkiness. So yeah guys, that's the end of the running session. I'll tell you what was pulling this lovely pre-grouping wagon, and that was a London Brighton South Coast Railway H2, if I believe I've got it correct. I don't know if these actually pulled freight in their pre-grouping days, but I haven't got many correct liveries or correct locos for this wagon, so I do apologise about that. Like I said at the start of the video, these are exclusively from Kernow Model Shop, is their model. And I did the early bird price where you pre-order it, and I paid £30 and that comes straight out of the bank when I pre-ordered it. If you're to get this direct from Kernow now, you're talking £33 minus a penny for the diagram 1369. If you are interested, just a side note here, they also do a 5 plank 1364. And the only difference that I can see is it doesn't have the tiny handle at the top and it's not curved, it's just a flat one like the Hornby one next to it. That's the only difference I can see. I'm no expert, but that's what I could see. £30 for a model with sprung buffers. 90% or, well yeah, 90% of these don't have sprung buffers that you saw running today. The only thing that did was the train, the loco. I think that none of the wagons have sprung buffers. So for £30 or £33, which is the average price for a brand new tooled item in 2024, isn't bad. Saying it's exclusively for them, they've designed it, they've done all the CAD works. For a small manufacturer, that's what they are, they make stuff. It isn't a bad price. I am tempted to get another 5 plank, a different version, the different diagram one. These are so nice, they do make a difference to rolling stock and pre-grouping stuff. There's lots of pre-grouping locos, liveries, coaches, wagons, guard vans, buildings to a degree that need to be done in OO by manufacturers. That is where the growth is. The growth is where steam, especially in steam, it's industrial and it's pre-grouping. That's only my opinion. That's where I see the growth. Like I said, £30, £33 is a bargain. Yeah, some people might say it looks a little plasticky, but they're a small manufacturer. The stuff they've done in the past is wonderful. So we have I think it's the 10-ton brake van next to it in a Southern livery. Don't forget, later on in the year, by Bachmann, we have the T3. Again, that's in conjunction with Kernow for the EFE. So 90% of the EFE stuff, I think, is Kernow, from what I understand, speaking to a few people in the know. Again, I'm a big fan of pre-grouping. I can't say enough good things about this model. It all comes down to preferences and prices, I get that, and eras. But for something that this looks a little bit different to other plank wagons, it looks lovely. These may at some point go into a sale, like a lot of things. They may at some point, if a certain livery doesn't sell, it may end up in a sale in about 6 months' time. They do other liveries if you're interested. So they do a Southern post-war, post-1936. They do a pre-1936 brown. I think they also do some departmental ones. And I think there's a few preserved ones as well. They have a wide range of liveries for this wagon, from preserved to BR to the pre-grouping, as you can see here. This was my take on the all-new tooled Kernow Model Shop 5 plank London and Brighton South Coast Railway diagram 1369 wagon. Hope you enjoyed the review. Please take care and goodbye.